Live from the Shabby Shack, in association with Liver and Bacon Productions, it's ATW Podcast.
Shabby Shack. Liver and Bacon. Shabby Shack.
ATW Podcast.
Okay, so how you doing? Welcome to 28 Minutes with ATW, 28 Plus. Just in case if there's that little bit extra that we need to talk about, and we'll just keep going, especially for you. But welcome. I'm really excited about the guest we got here today. He is one half of the Cut Up Boys, who are basically, well, they're amazing. They've done 250 award-winning cut-up mixes, and they've contributed so much to Radio 1, and also they are part of Ministry of Sound Radio. Hello, sir. How are you?
Sir,
Do you go by Barnsey, or do you go by Nick Barnes?
Barnsley's good. Barnsley's good.
I'm hearing Barnsey being talked about a lot.
Most people call me Barnsley.
Do they?
Yeah.
They do. Okay,
been,
right.
like
So
a long time.
your Cut Up Boys. Who thought of the name Cut Up Boys? Was it you?
I think I don't know. I think it just happened. Really, it was one of those ones that just happened.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, the mix that we did for Radio 1 for Dave Pearce's show, like the Drive Time show, was called the Cut Up Mix.
It was called the Cut. Was
Yeah.
that before you were the Cut Up Boys?
It was, yes. We didn't actually have a name before we did that, so we just did it, and I think it was just like, well, what are we going to call ourselves? The Cut Up Boys.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? It was just like, that was it. That was it. It happened sort of pretty.
There's a very similar story with New Kids on the Block, but I'm sure that's
Right.
nothing. We don't need to talk about that right now. But Matt Brooks is your other half. As
It
it
is,
were.
yeah,
He
yeah.
And what's he up to at the moment? What's he doing?
I don't know. He's probably at home doing knitting or something.
Is he?
Like that.
Does he do
So,
that?
Yeah,
Is he into knitting?
yeah, I expect so. No, I don't know. I mean, he's pretty gangster. But who knows what he could be up to?
How did you meet Matt Brooks?
I've known Matt Brooks. Oh, God, for longer than I care to remember. I mean, probably longer than he cares to remember anyway. But when I was, it's got to be 45 years, I reckon.
45 years?
No.
How old are you?
No, not 45 years. Probably,
How old are you?
Probably 40 years. I must have known Brooks in 40 years.
Are you the same age?
No, it wouldn't have been that.
It's not
No.
the same age, is it?
35 years. 35 years.
35 years,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Did you grow up together?
No, we didn't. So I met Brooksy through a mutual friend.
Okay.
So a guy called Ben McCall, Ben Blackshaw, that we used to. Actually, Ben McCall, Ben Blackshaw, super duper DJ. He used to DJ in Madison's back in the day, and used to work at
Rupert. That was Rupert that owned that, wasn't it?
do you know what? I don't know. I actually don't know.
Shout out to Rupert. Hello, if you're still alive. Yeah.
He used to work at Flying Records.
Did he really?
Six Flying
Okay.
Records, yeah, with Steve Oates.
Steve Oates. Okay.
Yeah.
So Matt Brooks and you got together. So were you doing a lot of music before you met Matt Brooks?
Well, yeah, putting some sort of feeling our way around. So we bought some bits and pieces, and mostly it was it sort of revolved around my attic, sort of attic room.
Right.
We had a load of bits and pieces, and we were writing all sorts of weird ambient stuff. Probably smoking bits and pieces.
Okay.
I would have
smoking bits and pieces.
Smoking bits and pieces.
Well, we'll get to that later because I know you don't really do that anymore, do you? You don't do any of that anymore. In fact, right now, your biggest drug that you're doing is, what was that?
Oh, I've got a stinking cold at the moment, so I'm on the Solpadeine at the moment because I
That's
feel
the-
ropey.
This is kind of like COVID times right now. We both got a cold, so we've agreed to do the interview, so it kind of works, doesn't it? Not one's going to catch anything.
Exactly.
So this is really good. Are you actually a musician as well? Do you play?
I guess in a sense, I suppose.
It's a really annoying question for a
Yeah,
DJ.
do you know
isn't
what?
it?
No,
'Cause
I'm not
People
classic.
say, do you actually?
Yeah,
play an
look,
instrument?
I'm not classically trained. I can, I can play basically and stuff. But I guess, my instrument of choice would be Cubase.
Okay, which without a doubt, that's an instrument, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So
I
over
think
the
there's
years,
some pretentious musicians that might like to argue that fact.
Yeah,
But then
well,
they can go and make a record on
Yeah,
it, and let's see how they do.
Look, it would be lovely. I would absolutely love, and I doff my cap to all those musicians because that's a major talent. I'm thoroughly
So you're from Blandford originally.
Blandford.
Blandford. So at what age did you leave Blandford?
Why did I leave Blandford?
Yeah, I love Blandford.
Well, yeah,
It's one of my favourite towns in the whole of England. Honestly, I don't know what it is, but Blandford's got magic. I play there
You
once
clearly
a month.
didn't live there.
I know, I've never done that, but I've spent very long weekends there.
Blandford was cool. I really love Blandford. Sort of growing up in the 80s and 90s, Blandford was actually really good. It was good. Yeah, there was a really good scene. There was loads of pubs, and it was vibrant. You know, it was really vibrant.
I think it still is quite vibrant in a way. But I think it's vibrant in the sense it's a really lovely place to go. I feel I've been abroad when I've been to Blandford.
Yeah, well, you probably have. You know, I generally get a nosebleed when I go to Blandford.
Straight after lockdown, Blandford was such a pleasure to just go into and do a gig and be hanging out there. I wouldn't leave. I'd do a gig on Saturday night and not leave till Monday.
Yeah,
but it was I just
awesome.
absolutely loved drinking around the pubs in Blandford.
No, there was a really good scene in Blandford.
But I can also understand how one would decide to probably spread their wings and try and get out.
Yeah,
of Blandford a little bit.
I guess I think when once I'd started doing the stuff with ministry and bits and pieces like that, it was like I wanted to move down a bit closer to the clubs and bits and pieces like that, and also like travel. You know, we could jump on trains easier and stuff.
You can.
And so
So you moved to Allan from there.
I moved to Allan Chine.
Allan, right near
Yeah,
Westbourne.
rock and roll.
Yeah. That's the best place. That is the centre of the universe.
Kind of like the Blue Rinse Ghetto, I suppose.
It's
a little
amazing.
bit.
I love Allan. So were you always DJing? Because if you're doing all that stuff on Cubase and you were creating stuff, when did you actually first go out and do gigs?
No. Well, I mean, the DJing came as a by.
So you were a producer first, DJ second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you'd never been a guy that shows up to do someone's party and said, right, who wants to hear what? You've been a guy that shows up with their mixes done, ready to go.
Yeah.
That you've created and mashed up yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we, exactly that. So I'd never really DJ'd before that. You know, we've sort of produced these mixes. We kind of like I say, DJ'd on Cubase.
Yeah,
I think that was the thing. That's how it came about. I first started messing around with mashups, and this was late 90s, really.
Yeah,
it was the late 90s, and myself and Brooksy, we'd had a long history before that of putting.
And what about Brooksy? Was he a DJ?
No, neither of us. No.
Both very similar to the Chemical
Yeah.
Brothers. Yeah.
So we'd been putting tracks together and stuff, and actually, but Brooks had been really successful with. He charted a track.
What was it?
Do you remember the Rockford Files, You Sexy Dancer? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? Humphrey remembers it. Yeah. So he'd been really successful with that with Ben,
Did
the
that
guy
go mainstream?
Yeah, it was a big tune. Yeah, it was a
Really?
big tune
Okay.
back in the 90s. I think 95 or something like that. Yeah.
Did you do Top of the Pops and things like that then?
No, but they did a few gigs off the back of it. But I don't know, it kind of that was they did that, and it was a bit short-lived. You know, it was big. It was a massive thing, but couldn't keep the momentum up, I guess.
But was it that same sort of vibe? So we could have got DJ gigs off the back of it.
They did do DJ. Well, they did live. They did PAs. They did
okay, of course
PAs.
they did.
PAs.
So they had a singer, did they? And so
Yes, they did. Yeah. Most of them.
More about this.
Yeah. So most of them were up in sort of Liverpool and stuff. But and then that sort of slowed down a little bit, I guess. And then our paths crossed at Slinky.
Yeah.
So we both Matt ran the studio and I worked in the studio at Slinky, and we mixed all the Slinky albums. So all the compilation albums.
So how did you get into doing that then? So
well, they were doing them live to start with. They were doing them off of like turntables.
Yeah.
But because we were putting together these mashups on Cubase, we found a way to kind of do it. This is sort of early days when you had Cubase VST. It's when you could start loading audio into Cubase. We found a way of chopping it up and putting it all together. And then thought, well, look, if we could do a track, if we just keep going, we could put together a whole mix.
Yeah.
You know, why not just do a complete free-flowing mix of all the tracks? But that was mainly so doing that, they were just tracks into tracks. So there was no mashup really going on with the Slinky albums. You know, that was just pure mixing really.
But a great flow.
Yeah, because you could get it absolutely bang in time, and it was really nice. You could be really creative with it as well.
Would you talk on it?
No, there's no talking.
Only because I was listening to a lot of your Ministry of Sound stuff, and you do really lovely little introductions along the way as well. But that was more for Ministry of Sound radio, was it?
That was for when we did the radio bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
What a team to be a part of, though. Because I suppose once you're on that train, they're suddenly sticking you in different zones.
Well, the Ministry thing was just an absolute. Well, it was just awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
Did you go to them, or did they come to you?
Well, we went to them.
Right. Okay.
We kind of had dealings, or the when we were at Slinky, we'd had dealings with Ministry. Sort of, Matt had dealings with them licensing tunes, so he knew a couple of people at Ministry.
Was he quite a good hustler as well?
Sorry.
Was Matt a good hustler? Was he good at
we just knew people there, really. You know what I mean? So
it's really nice to hear your kind of story, because it's not like you're saying, we just knocked on those doors and just made sure you've done it just really nicely and kind of flowed. Yeah,
so we did the Slinky thing, and then via another guy that used to DJ, an old dear friend of us, a lovely guy called Daniel Bailey, he... this is kind of like about 2002 to something like that, I guess. He was the mix selector. He used to DJ at Slinky, but he was a mix selector, and he did the mixes, the drive time mixes for Dave Pearce on his show. But they wanted to put together something a little bit different, rather than just banging together just tracks. They wanted to do sort of like a mashed up thing, and we said, well, look, we'll give it a go, and. So we ended up doing. So they kind of liked it. They binned us off the first time actually, and gave it to somebody else to do, but they couldn't do it. So then they came back to us, crawling back to us. And said,
did you end up getting a good agent then from that?
Yeah, well we did. Yeah, so because we were doing the Radio 1 thing, we did all these mixes.
Did you go on the Radio 1 road shows? Was it at that time?
Not really. No.
It's too credible for that, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. Well, I mean, we were sort of unknown. Essentially, we were doing these mixes, and we thought, well, look, we better give ourselves a name rather than it be completely sort of anonymous.
Yeah.
So
this is where, let's get to it, where we started this whole thing from. Where the name The Cut Up Boys came from.
Because Dave Pearce's show was called The Cut Up Mix, or The Cut Up Cut, I think it was called, or something like that. So we did 20 minutes, half an hour a week for them, and we were like thinking, this is good. This shit on. We were really enjoying it, and we were getting at that point. We were both I think we were both on the rock and roll. We were both on the dole. We were making absolutely no money, and we were. It's just beans on toast.
So you're literally on primetime radio.
Took us when we first started doing it. Took us a week to put together a 20-minute mix for Radio 1, and they paid us £30 for doing it. 30 quid. I know it was outrageous.
How old were you at the time?
I was old then.
I've asked you 3 times how old you are.
I was, so that was 2000.
I've now done it 4 times, isn't he?
Okay, 2002. So I was 34 in 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hang on, math.
Yeah.
57.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking good, my man. Yeah.
Peace.
That's quite annoying, actually.
Yeah. So.
That's really annoying.
Yeah, so we were doing we're doing those mixes, and then but then that's what. One of the guys
Matt the same age as you?
He's younger than me. Yeah, he's 4 or 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
And then somebody at Radio 1 said, we were like, oh God, we're not making any money.
Would you go up to Radio 1 constantly?
No, we did it all from home.
But for you to take, so how would you send the track? Because it was before the
CD.
internet.
It's before the internet, exactly. Yeah, so we used to burn CDs
and just put it in
mail
the post.
Put it in the post, recorded delivery, and they play.
So you didn't even get to go to the studio.
We went up there a couple of times.
Yeah,
went up there
a couple of times. What was it like?
Yeah, it's just mayhem up there. You know,
it? So you met Dave Pearce a lot of times.
Probably out DJing more than we ever met him when he was doing the show.
Did he use your mixes ever when he was DJing?
I have no idea. You know, do you know what, Dave?
Pretty good mix.
Oh, come on, but Dave doesn't need to. I mean, Dave's a legend. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe do you know what? Me thinking today when I was listening to your mix, I was like, I could use that. I could use that. Use that little segment. That's Dave's a really lovely mix. Have you heard that being done, where people use your stuff?
I have no idea. I mean, look, I'm happy people do whatever they want, fill their boots. You know what I mean? That's super flattering. If people think if people think it's good enough to play out, then I can't argue with that. And
there's two ways to look
really
at that,
flattered by that.
I think when you're younger, you're a lot more angry about stuff like that, and you go, "Oh, that's fine," how dare you do that? But actually, as you get older, you're kind of like, "Wow, I'm really glad that person stole my idea," because what a compliment.
Do you know what? Interestingly, when we first started doing it, mashups were really frowned upon. So back in the late 90s, early noughties, you could get in a lot of trouble for doing this. So
I suppose copyright was a lot.
it was all the copyright. They were really, it was almost a bit like that classic, recording music, sort of taped music is killing music, or taping music is killing the music industry, or whatever, and then it was like Napster, and they've all the way along. They've always been fighting somebody, haven't they?
I had a moderately. I'm not supposed to talk about myself on here, but I had a hit record in Germany when I was in 2001.
Oh, wow. What was that?
It was called Shake the Knees. It's really embarrassing to say that to you because you're a very credible DJ. But yeah, my song, I looped an old Shakin' Stevens song.
Yeah.
Stuck a beat over the top and took the You Drive Me Crazy bit. But it was done in a very old school hip hop way. So I did actually initially do it on vinyl. But the point I'm getting to is I barely made any money because the whole money it was classed as a cover. The money all went to a guy called Ronnie Harwood, who was Shakin' Stevens' writer. And then the idea was just copied 2 years later with this guy that won Germany's Got Talent or something like that. And it was #1 for 11 weeks. I didn't get paid, But now I look back and I'm like, what a compliment.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Because it was still my idea when I was sitting there with the, with the song. But it was very, very strange. So anyway, so you're doing that stuff with Dave Pearce. Suddenly, is there someone that suddenly said to you, like, guys, if you want to start making money, we'll get you on the road or something like that?
Well, yeah, exactly. So somebody at Radio 1, I think a guy called Ben Appleyard, I think. So he was like a producer on the show, I think. And he said, look, speak to this guy. And there's actually a guy called Guy Robinson. And he said, speak to Guy. He is an agent for all the DJs.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so we had a meeting with Guy. He lived in Reading at the time, so we went up to see Guy, and it was a really good meeting. He was quite into what we were doing. His sort of angle was, well, look, guys, you've got the Radio 1 name and stuff, but he was massive. He was massively in with the student unions.
Right.
So straight away, so he got some gigs. First ever gig was Leicester, De Montfort University. Shitting our pants. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Sort of just practiced a few times, never really done before. But actually,
the mixes were already done, weren't they? So,
no.
How did you do? You do live mix? Would you?
Yeah, we did live mixes, but also we've got sort of like little chunks. Little chunks. So it's kind of like there's sort of daisy chaining bits together and stuff like that. And we were just using bits we've been playing on the radio, bits that were working. So, that was cool to be able to play those bits out. Because when you do stuff for radio or anything like that, you have no idea of how that goes down. Because you don't see the response.
Yeah, believe me, I do radio every week. I've got a show and I'm very, very introverted.
Yeah.
I feel like, is anyone even listening out there?
For sure.
That's why I love... the reason I love the TV and the podcast and these things is because you're with people and you feel this response in a room and this vibrancy. But radio, then I get told by people, I heard your show the other day. And you go, oh, you did? Oh, wow, that's one. I thought it was only my mum.
Game on. Oh,
awesome. So, but you do think that, don't you? There's that one thing. But... mind you, Radio 1's a bit different. I mean, you can't get any bigger.
It was cool. It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. But like we were completely detached from it, almost completely detached. It was a brilliant thing. It's like you could say whatever, but then actually going and playing those bits out, and people dancing to it, like, awesome,
lovely.
It does work, and then.
So you did that first one.
Yeah.
So where did you?
Well, then
does one of you get on the mic a bit more than the other? Or anything
not
like that?
really. No. So I would kind of be on the ones and twos. And Matt would have his laptop, and he would be spinning in samples and bits and pieces like that, and we just kept doing that. We did so many for years. We just did lots of student unis. Yeah, it was amazing. It was awesome. We went all over the country, and
financially was that better then?
Oh yeah.
Than
then
the
we started.
You were getting on.
We started earning some money.
Yeah.
And at that point.
And were they looking after you with hotels and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. It was sort of hotels and. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Did you get to travel then a lot? Go abroad to other places?
Not at that point really, because the mixes that we were doing for Radio 1 were just domestic, really. So we were only kind of known in the UK domestically. So it was all domestic. So I mean, there was no limos or tour buses or anything. It was me and Brooksy driving. And actually, it's a funny thing because
I mean, you did Ibiza.
Yeah, but that came a bit later.
That came later.
Yeah, that was
okay.
later. That was not at that time. So sort of early doors. It was more the SUs and stuff. We were travelling up and down the country, but we were flying up and down. We were doing Northern Ireland. We played Northern Ireland a lot.
Yeah.
Played Scotland a lot. All the unis there and clubs there and stuff. And then.
So what year are we talking here?
We are talking 2004, 2005.
So when you say later on came the abroad gigs, why was that? Because you met mixers?
Because we'd done the albums. Because then we'd started doing the albums
for Ministry of
Sound.
Sound.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you suddenly were this. In a
Well,
sense,
then, because then they were, like I said, we've been doing the radio things, and then we contacted Guy Ministry. This is how we got into the Ministry thing. A guy called Steve Canuetto had a meeting, and it was just like, we were just. It's that thing where you were like, you go into a meeting with him, and you think, if we got this gig. It'd be the best thing ever that ever happened. It's just like mind-boggling. 2004, yeah.
Okay.
It'd be mind-boggling, and we sort of met them up there, just absolutely shitting our pants, really. Sort of just went up there and had a meeting with them, and they were pretty cool. And Steve Canuetto, actually, he said, look, I'm really interested in this. I've been trying to do this for 2 years. I can't find anyone to do it. So can you do us a demo, like a 15-minute demo, 20-minute demo, send it to us, and then we'll have a listen to it and see if it's sort of good enough. Cool move. So they sent us all the parts for all of their tracks, like Ministry's catalogue, all the parts. They've got all the parts for the remixes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So what we did is our next Dave Pearce show that we did, the radio show, we did all the Ministry stuff, put it on there, and we said to Steve Canuetto, he said, have you got that mix? We said, well, if you listen to the radio on Thursday,
clever.
We're going to put it on there. Do you know what I mean? So played it, he listened to it, and he was like, can you come back in and see us? Yeah. So we went back in, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do an album sort of thing.
Okay, and then after that, that's when you started getting... So where's the furthest you played?
We've been to Dubai.
Yeah.
No, we haven't done these. Again, the albums were quite domestic.
Have you done Vegas?
No.
Germany?
No.
Berlin would have been all over.
Yeah, well, you say that, but not really, I don't think. Again, the albums were quite domestic, so...
okay.
Yeah, so not massively.
Ministry of Sound is world, isn't it?
It is worldwide, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I lived in Dubai for a while, and I DJ'd there like 5 times for New Year's, and I must admit, there's something about the name Ministry of Sound. It's just... It's like Disney, isn't it, within the DJ world, really?
Yeah.
It's just so
it was
powerful.
Cool. And I remember doing the doing the albums. The first time we did the first album, being sent... Because, I'm coming from going back a long time, sort of early 90s, when I had like an Akai sampler and a little mixer and bits and pieces and stuff like that. And you had these, you'd get a few sample packs and a few samples and stuff like that on like 0G data file or something, and and they were, it was that was brilliant. And then suddenly we'd been sent all of these master parts for things like Snap, Rhythm as a Dancer, and I can remember getting those parts on like a CD and just thinking, this is the coolest thing ever. And I can use these. We can do whatever we want with them, and it was just for all of their tracks. It was.
Who were your main inspirations when you were growing up? Then, when did you properly start doing music, or when did you have a moment? Because I don't know. I think most entertainers, musicians, or whoever have that moment in their life where they go, "That's what I want to do." And you mentioned earlier you were quite into acid house, weren't you?
Yeah, a bit, probably a lot earlier. I can remember. We lived in a pub in Blandford for a few years.
You?
Yeah, I lived in a pub, and I can remember...
You've seen everything if you've lived in... Which one?
The Stour in Blandford. Yeah, the Stour. Yeah, so I lived there, and the Tree Lovers, not in Tarrant Kingston as well. But the Stour, I can remember being... The Stour's by... not a million miles. Yeah, but Branston Gates. There's a little pub there.
Just over the...
over the bridge past.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And I can remember... So my dad sort of ran the pub, and he used to play... He had 2 albums that I particularly liked.
Yeah.
And I can remember him playing them. And I can remember listening to them and thinking, God, that's awesome. One of them was, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Really?
Yeah. And also Jean-Michel Jarre, Equinox. I can remember listening to Equinox and thinking, that is badass. That's spacey as you like. You know what I mean? And then I guess I really liked that, and then continued to like it. Probably those two albums, probably particularly Equinox, probably one of my favourite albums of all time. But then kind of sort of moving forward, I guess the 80s came along as at school, school discos, Human League, Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, I was listening to your mix today and I thought, I bet he loves Depeche Mode. I bet he loves Human League. I did hear a lot of that influence.
Yeah. I mean, it was an awesome time, Vince Clarke, Trevor Horn, mega producers back in the 80s, like ABC and, all of these, just awesome.
And it's bigger now than it's been in ages.
Right,
Like you got that and I would suggest you go on SoundCloud, Ministerious Sound, the 80s. What's
right.
The 80s one you did.
Oh yeah, the 80s mix. Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah. It's so check good. It out. Yeah, it's
it's really good. But it was done a while ago now.
God, I reckon we did that. What was it now? 2025. We could have done that well over 10 years ago.
See, I don't think...
Between 10 and 15 years ago.
I think now that the market is there for that big time now.
Yeah.
Because retro's never been bigger. But,
we've
it did well anyway, didn't it?
Yeah.
So let's be honest.
We've often talked about doing, like a Mark II.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff to,
Where did you play in Dubai when you played in Dubai?
Oh, gosh. The Palm, as it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
Down the end.
Was it really busy? Was it ridiculous?
I can't remember. You
are so humble.
I can't remember. We played at like quite a small. There was a club inside the Palm.
Yeah.
We stayed at the Palm as well, which was really nice. And they put us up and we played there. And also we played at another club that was more in the town. It was an open air club. It was half open air and half. I can remember playing. I can't remember. I think it was ridiculous.
And where did you play in Ibiza?
Recently, last year we played Ibiza Rocks. Is it the Ibiza Rocks Bar? Is it or something? Yeah. That was cool.
Have you got a favourite DJ? Someone that you've worked? I mean, because you've probably worked with loads, haven't you?
A favourite DJ? Oh God, put me on the spot.
Okay. Well,
I don't know. I don't know really.
Did you ever tour with certain people? Like, did your agent say, right, you're going to tour with these guys, or you're going to go with?
I tell you who we followed around.
Who?
Right? So back in the uni days, I tell you we followed around, and
when you mean followed around, you
followed around on probably about 4 gigs. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I remember we played like an Oceana and a couple of uni gigs. It was Calvin Harris.
No way.
Yeah, so we shared a green room with Calvin Harris at Oceana, and we used to we'd get in there and our rider was always a bottle of JD.
Was it?
Yeah,
that's
and
as well.
so we'd get in there and we'd be on the JD, and I can remember being in
what was he on? Do you remember?
I remember being in the green room with Calvin Harris, and we'd said, look, do you want to? You're right. So I think we just introduced ourselves, sort of shook hands, said hello. Would you like a JD and Coke? And he looked at us as if we were from Mars. Do you know what I mean? He's just like, idiots. Do you know what I mean?
We're from Blandford.
Absolutely not. And fair play to it. That guy.
Oh.
And this is probably I don't know.
Did you see anything about him then that you would have thought, oh well, he's clearly going to be the richest man in Vegas?
Yeah, I'll tell you when that was from. We were getting sent when we were doing the the bits for because we were doing like mixes for Christ, I can't remember his name now.
What year was
Judge
this?
Schulz. We were doing intros for Judge Schulz. And we were getting all the Calvin Harris stuff. And I was thinking, this stuff's amazing. Like, it just kept, every time it just kept getting better and better and better.
You saw a massive...
You could see it. You could see the guy was focused, he was driven, and,
So did he not drink then? He wasn't drinking?
He didn't drink. No. Whether he drinks now or not, I mean, I don't know. But, fair play to the guy, I mean...
he's very
I have no idea whatever happened to him. I mean,
poor guy.
Yeah, I suspect not drinking.
Where is he now?
Yeah, where is he now? Exactly, But yeah, so I don't know. So there was, So
did you work with Fat Boy?
No, never been. Never worked with Fat Boy.
Did you? Who was you? Because within the Acid House days, you didn't play there, did you?
No. Well,
did you ever go to the illegal raves?
Yes, we used to. Well, a few sort of illegal raves and stuff like that. I mean, they were kind of.
I think I was. So I would have been 12 or 13, and I look back at that, and that's almost like a punk era, isn't it?
Right.
That whole Matchams.
Yeah, I guess it was. I went to Matchams actually. I
Did
did
you
go
go
to
to
Matchams.
Matchams?
Yeah, Matchams.
I just feel
was
like
pretty
if you weren't there, you don't really understand it properly. But it seems that anybody that went there, they really experienced something.
I'm not sure how much I was there. Do you know what I mean? But I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
Did you see? Do you remember Carl Cox and people like that?
Yeah, it was truly awesome. But there were other, there's quite a lot of other sort of big raves and stuff going on. Even prior to that, there was sort of like a few. And I didn't go to loads and loads of them. I think really, probably early 90s, it was Madison's for me.
Yeah.
We were religiously every weekend Madison's and Blackshaw again. I mentioned, Ben McCall, and a dear departed friend Humphrey would know. Spreaders. He was a massive. I just need to get that in actually because he massive influence on me musically. So like you were going back saying influences and stuff.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a sort of low, and I was in sort of like pop and stuff like that. But I guess early 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, he was bringing a lot of music to my attention, and it was just like wow. So that he influenced me a great deal.
Right, Nick Barnes. This could so be continued, and we could carry on. But hopefully, next time you come in, we'll bring Matt Brooks with us, shall we?
I think we should do that.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing.
But this has been really such a pleasure. I've heard a lot about you, and I was expecting you to be way more arrogant. So thank you for being. Thank you for being such a gentleman.
Thank you so much.
No, but thank you for being such a gentleman.
Thank you. It's been thoroughly enjoyed it.
Where can they follow the Cut Up Boys? Where can they follow the? We're saying goodbye.
Oh, where can you follow the Cut Up Boys? Oh, right. I thought.
SoundCloud.
You can follow. Yeah. So Mixcloud, Cut Up Boys Mixcloud. We got a lot of mixes on there.
Yeah.
SoundCloud.
Yeah.
We play at Butlins and stuff like that. Come on, go. We're Redcoats. We're official Redcoats.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
learn your craft.
Play all over. But yeah.
Right, Nick Barnes, Barnesy from the Cut Up Boys. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Indeed.